this didn't come natural for me. So this has been something I've had to learn and practice. And now we're learning more about how to actually bring back that connection, bring back that attraction.
That every single woman is asking, am I important to you? Am I a priority in your world? If she sees you always on your phone, always working, she's not going to feel like she's important to you. And women, they love to feel seen. That's like the highest need of the feminine, is that you see me.
Do not try and fix. Give her your attention, focus on her, have the positive internal story, but do not interrupt her and try and fix. This is not the time to fix. It's just the time to listen.
Around a feminine woman where softness is actually considered a strength, and it's very attractive. It's great for bringing back the spark in your relationship. If you have some softness, men love that.
Looking into her eyes, admiring her like you did when you first met. Not just hearing the words she's saying, but feeling what she's feeling.
Welcome back to the Save My Marriage podcast with Aston and Adam Simmons. Today, we are going to be talking about how to bring back the spark in your relationship, even if there's zero connection right now. I'm so excited to talk about this today, and we wanted to do it as a practical conversation to help couples who have listened to our previous episode talking about masculine and feminine energy, how to make it more practical. Because I know for a lot of couples, they struggle with this idea of masculine and feminine energy, and it feels so mystical and or they see people on Instagram and social media and they paint a picture of masculine and feminine that they can't see themselves in. They think, oh, well, I'm never going to look like that, or I don't act like that, or like for the men, I'm not into the gym, so that means I'm not masculine. Or for the women, well, I don't like dresses, so that means I can't be feminine. And it really frustrates me because that is not what masculine and feminine energy is. Masculine and feminine energy is very personal. It's very personal to your energy. And that's why when we teach clients how to embody more of their masculine and feminine, we speak to qualities which are part of both masculine and feminine, and the expression of those qualities, which is going to be your unique essence. It's not going to look the same as anything that you're seeing on social media. And the biggest indication of whether you're in your feminine or masculine is how you feel. How you feel in yourself and how you feel in your interactions with your partner. Is there some, healthy tension? Is there some healthy differences? Is there some attraction? Is there some connection? Is there some of that polarity, the difference in the energies present in your relationship? And that's the best way to tell if you're, embodying your masculine and feminine energy. So we really want to make this super practical and easy for everyday people to understand. So I want to start by asking you, Adam, how do you practically bring in qualities of masculine energy into our relationship? And I mean, there's a lot of different qualities, but I think we're going to focus on four of the qualities that we recommend. But I'd love for you to speak into those different qualities. The first one is attention.
Yeah, it is. First of all, I want to say that this didn't come natural for me. So this has been something I've had to learn and practice. I think, especially a lot of the clients we work with, it's not a natural thing. The men don't really understand it. Maybe most likely you didn't see it modeled growing up.
Yeah, I was going to say, is it that it's not natural, or is it that you've been conditioned out of it?
I think that's more the truth. You've been conditioned out of it, and now we're learning more about how to actually bring back that connection, bring back that attraction.
The difference in our energies. I think we kind of went a bit too far with feminism and equality, and now we think that equality means that men and women are the same. And we're meant to be the same. And we lost a lot of those differences that actually are designed to support us in relationship. And so I love that you shared that. I don't know that for a lot of men listening that it's not natural. I'm sure if they hear these things, they'll say, of course I want to treat my wife or my partner with those energies and those qualities. But a lot of men have been conditioned out of it, or like you said, they didn't see their own dads or fathers or grandfathers show up with those qualities, because slowly, generation by generation, we have really been emasculating men and, kind of sending a message that we're not comfortable with a lot of the masculine qualities. And, the invitation is to start to have a more healthy relationship with the masculine and realize that there's a lot to celebrate and there's a lot that it actually does bring into the relationship as well.
Yeah, absolutely. So the first one is attention. So it's when she's speaking, it's really giving her your full attention. So not trying to put the monkey mind on pause and really looking into her eyes. And you want to check, this is a part where a lot of people go wrong, is that they don't check the internal story. So they might say things like, yeah, well, I'm stopping what I'm doing and I'm looking at her and I'm listening to her, but she still is getting frustrated, or she's still doing the same thing, or she's still saying that I'm not listening to her, or she's not feeling understood. Why? I'm trying. Sometimes it's the internal story. So if you're stopping what you're doing and you're really being present with your partner, you're taking time every day to connect and spend time together, and you're looking at them deeply in their eyes, but they're still saying they don't feel heard and understood by you, there's a chance that possibly your internal story is not positive. And maybe there's a reason for that. Maybe you guys have been having a lot of arguments lately and you're finding it hard to have the positive story. But if you're looking into your partner's eyes, but inside you're saying, here she goes again, another one of those rants, another thing that I didn't do good enough or didn't do right, or another mistake that I've made. If you're having that kind of internal dialogue whilst you're trying to connect to her, she's not going to feel connected to you.
She'll feel the story.
She'll feel the story, because women are very intuitive. They do feel things. So attention with a positive internal story. So looking into her eyes, admiring her like you did when you first met.
And like, what is attention? Like, it's not just being there, because I hear men say, well, I'm there with her on the couch. Yeah, but you're looking at your phone when she's talking to you. So it's like presence.
It's also not just hearing the words she's saying, but feeling what she's feeling. It's attuning to her and what's going on in the story that she's telling you. So that's the first one, attention.
And the goal of attention is that she feels important.
Absolutely.
Yeah, because I know men like to know, well, why am I doing it? Well, every single woman is asking, am I important to you? Am I a priority in your world? If she sees you always on your phone, always working, she's not going to feel like she's important to you. And women, they love to feel seen. That's like the highest need of the feminine, is that you see me. I'm important to you. I'm special. Like, you've chosen me. And if you're distracted all the time, busy all the time, and you don't give her some one-on-one quality attention, she is not going to feel seen by you, and she is actually going to feel like she's not important to you.
100%. I just want to throw in one more thing there. We weren't going to add this one in, but I just think it's so important. I want to chuck it in there. It's still part of attention, but this is another way in which men go wrong. They try and fix. So they might pay attention to their partner, but as soon as she starts sharing, this is going on and this is happening and this is how I'm feeling, as men, the default response is, oh, I see a problem here. I see something that needs to be fixed. And we have ideas and we want to share them. We want to help. It comes from a loving place. We think we're helping by giving ideas of how you might be able to solve this problem. But it's not received that way because our brains are very different. For men, it's all about achieving the goal and getting a result. For women, it's not. They just want to express themselves and feel heard and understood. So we have different goals, and that's where men go wrong. They try and fix the problem. They interrupt their partner. They give a suggestion, and it's not received well. And then you're so confused. You're like, I just tried to help you, but you're getting more angry at me. What's going on here? And a lot of men get really frustrated with this. So that is do not try and fix. Give her your attention, focus on her, have the positive internal story, but do not interrupt her and try and fix. This is not the time to fix. It's just the time to listen. If she wants help with something, at the end of her expressing what she needs to share, she may ask you for your advice, but in the middle of the conversation, please don't try and fix it because you'll just make it worse.
Yeah, and you'll feel like you've lost, and we want you to feel like you're winning. Like, we're really big on creating win-win situations for both men and women. And I know when you learned this, you were like, oh my God, I wish I'd learned it sooner. Like, I cannot believe how much easier it is just to listen to her and not try and solve the problem. Again, it was not natural for you because men like to solve problems, but you realized I wasn't a business deal. or a work problem. I'm a human being.
Yeah.
And I just really wanted to feel seen, heard, and understood. And that was the goal. And as soon as you got that, you were like, yeah, I can listen.
Yeah.
Like, this is actually easy.
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah.
So number 2 for the men is affection. So you want to be giving her affection more regularly. It could be a touch on the back. It could be a kiss on the head. It could be holding her hand. It could even be like a little message throughout the day. If you're not together, thinking of you, I miss you, I love you. You know, all these little touch points of affection, they build, they stack on each other. And that it's really, really important. A lot of people forget and they get tied up in the busyness of their work or the day, and they forget. And then that's where things just slowly start to break apart.
And you're meeting the need of connection for women here. That's the goal. Like, women want to feel connected to you. If you're only giving her affection when you're in the bedroom, the spark is going to blow out because intimacy starts way outside the bedroom. If you're not like paying attention to her all throughout the day, like I hear from couples all the time that they wake up in the morning and they don't even look in each other's eyes. Like, they don't even look in each other's eyes and say morning and have a kiss or a cuddle. Like, I'm like, okay, well, we need to start there. If you're listening to this and you're like, oh, I'm feeling called out, that's us. Just because you're in a long-term relationship, you don't want to get complacent. And if you have got complacent, you need to start with those simple touch points of affection. You know, like Adam said, just little moments, look in each other's eyes, say good morning, share a kiss. We do that every morning in the kitchen, and it just is a great way to start the day.
Yeah.
The same for when you end the day. Something similar, just a moment to connect and sharing some affection. And throughout the day, you can show that affection. You know, it doesn't have to be these big, grand gestures. Actually, it's usually the opposite. Like you said, it's those small moments that stack. And so they're the ones that the couples aren't doing. They're not holding hands when they go for a walk, you know, or in the car, they're not holding hands. Like, there's so many things that you do every day where you could just add in just even 10% more affection.
Yep.
And one, you'll feel better, your partner will feel better, and then it will feel natural for you to be intimate with each other because you're starting to create the culture of affection, you know, which is what you need to create more intimacy.
Yeah, absolutely. So number 3 for the men is reassurance. So it's an interesting fact for you. Women's amygdala in their brain is actually a lot bigger than men's. And so what that means is they're scanning for danger more of the time. And this is it's an evolutionary fact, and it's something that women needed to have that because look at their bodies. They're not as big and as strong as men. And when we used to live in more vulnerable environments when we weren't safe, women needed to be very aware of what was going on around them. So that means that they need more reassurance because they see certain things as a threat. It could be something very, very simple like the back door or that the doors in the house not being locked at night. That to them feels unsafe. To a man, it's like no big deal. If you live in the Western world, for the most part, it's not a big deal. But for women, things like that can feel very unsafe. Reminding yourself of that as a man because it's not as natural. You have to bring conscious awareness to it. Like, how is she actually feeling in this moment? If we're out at night, she's probably feeling a lot more scared than you are.
Yeah.
Even though you might be, again, in the Western world, in a safe country, in a safe city. So reassure her with words. It could be, are you okay, honey? You know, putting your arm around her.
Yeah, bringing back some gentleman qualities. Like Adam always opens the car door for me. Or if we're walking through a door, he'll, you know, motion for me to walk first. I love all of that about you. That gives me reassurance. And, you know, I think we've lost a lot of the gentleman qualities in men today. You know, you even hear of people going on dates and they don't even like go to the door. They just wait in the car and text, I'm here. I mean, like it's not attractive. It's not creating polarity and providing that element that men can of that reassurance, providing that safety, because women definitely still in the Western world do feel unsafe. You know, if you ask women if they go out at night, a lot of women will not go out at night, or they'll make sure that they're with a group of people, or they'll be on the phone to their girlfriend while they're walking if it's late. You know, men don't feel the need to do that. We, you know, often explain to our clients who, you know, if the men don't understand this concept of safety, when a woman leaves the house, she tends to take a bag full of things like her phone, might like have like, you know, obviously bank details like cards, all those things, but she also has a lot of other things like hairbrushes and, makeup and maybe even a change of clothes and a towel and if she's got kids, she's got a whole lot of other stuff like wipes and food and snacks. And so, she's leaving the house and it's as if she's leaving for like weeks, and she's just going down the road to the town or the city or whatever. Whereas like men, they, often you'll leave the house and like forget your phone or, forget your wallet, be like, oh, it's fine, it's on my phone. And it's like a non-deal for you, which must be so nice. But for women, it is definitely the opposite. And that's why that reassurance is just such a big thing.
Yeah.
If a man can provide that.
Absolutely. And then the last one for the man is consistency. Might sound pretty obvious, but this is really, really important. And this is where trust either gets built or broken in the consistency. Doing what you say you're going to do, being honest about what's going on. A lot of men lying to their partner or omitting the full truth, not sharing everything. And this was something that I had to face, many years ago now, but I had to be honest about where I was at, what was going on. I wasn't sharing everything with Aston, thinking that I was protecting her, but I was actually hurting her and myself. So be dependable, say what you're going to do, and, creating a bit of a rhythm and a structure. And this is not just in your business or your professional life, but at home, creating some structure for the family so that she can actually relax instead of her having to do everything and organize everything for the kids. How can you support her in that so that she doesn't feel like she's holding it all? And that consistency is going to build safety for her. She's going to relax. And when a woman relaxes, she's more in her feminine and she's going to be more attracted to you. It's going to create more polarity. It's like just getting back to your natural state so that there can be more attraction. But when you're both trying to be, like in your masculine all the time, that there is no connection. So they're the 4 for the men.
And all of them work to actually support women to be in their feminine. And it's the same with the qualities I'm going to share now for the feminine. The more you embody these as a woman, the more you will naturally encourage your husband, your boyfriend to rise in their masculine energy. And that's why we're sharing this, because once you understand these qualities, you can help each other rise in your natural energy. You definitely do not want to be doing things where you're like telling your partner you're not masculine enough, you're not in your feminine, because that will erode the chemistry.
Yeah.
That will erode the polarity. That will send a message of not enoughness. And that is absolutely not what masculine and feminine energy is about.
Yeah. And also for some of the men, if you're listening to what I just shared there and you're thinking, yeah, that all sounds great and I'm trying, but my wife is not receptive, or she's not allowing me to do some of those things. She's not appreciating those things that I'm trying to do. I totally hear you. I totally understand. It doesn't mean you still can't do it and inspire her or show her that she's safe, because the only reason she's trying to be the alpha male is because she feels unsafe.
Yeah.
So the more that you stick to all of those things, all of the 4 that I shared, and you practice them consistently, you're going to reassure her nervous system that she can maybe soften a little bit. She can stop having to control everything and do everything. And slowly, it may take time.
Yeah, it does take time. Because
over time,
honestly,
she's going to relax more.
It did for us.
Yeah.
Like we were in our opposite energy 7 years ago now. And it took some time of unlearning that pattern to change our dynamic. Not as long as you think, but it definitely, you don't listen to a podcast and then you start embodying it, So just check your expectations. Sometimes people are like, oh, I'm doing the work. I listened to a podcast on masculine and feminine, but it hasn't worked. Okay, we listened to it yesterday. Have you actually practiced it? And like consistently, I'm talking like minimum 30 days, or give yourself to start a 7-day challenge and then take the evidence from the 7-day challenge and then continue it for another 30 days and then take the feedback and keep doing that. That's what we recommend to our clients. Nothing is ever like, oh, I listened to one thing and then it's done.
Yeah, absolutely. So let's dive into the women's ones then. What can the women do to bring back this polarity?
Yeah, well, number 1 is respect. Do you actually respect your partner? And I want you to be honest. Logically, women will say, oh, yeah, of course I do. But then when I ask them to share, what do you think about your partner? How would you describe them? Things come out of their mouth that sound very disrespectful. Like, oh, he's an idiot. Why does he do things that way? How do men even survive in the world? things like this, these are the things that I hear coming out their mouth. I'm like, oh, okay, that's interesting. See, I'm just reflecting back that what I actually hear is disrespect. So you need to be really honest with yourself. Right now, ask yourself, if I'm being honest, do I actually respect my partner? And if you be honest, and I recommend doing that, you will probably realize why you've lost the spark and connection. It is almost impossible for a woman to be intimate with a man that she disrespects. Our bodies won't allow us to. It's unsafe. So the number one thing we need to do is we need to start respecting our husbands. We need to start creating an association with him that he is a man I respect. How would I treat him? How would I speak about him if he was a man I respected? And just think about that. And the things that kind of start to come up are like, you would let them make their own mistakes. You would let them make their own decisions. You would respect their way of thinking, even though it's different to yours, because it will be. You wouldn't be constantly correcting him, teaching him how to do it the right way. These are all the things I hear from women. And, honestly, it's over small things. It's usually the small things where it starts, like that he doesn't make the bed the right way, that he doesn't cut the carrots up the right way, didn't know there was a right way for either of those things. And, I understand where you're coming from. Those things might be important to you, but what you need to ask yourself is, what is more important, that the bed's made the right way or that my partner feels respected? Really think about that, because a lot of women are choosing to have things their way and they're losing respect in their marriage.
Yeah.
I really think this one's huge. Like, it's fuel to the masculine. If a man feels disrespected, he shuts down, he withdraws, he doesn't show up for you.
Yeah, he's not going to hang around very long.
He doesn't try harder. He literally works out, how do I escape? How do I get out of this? And he'll silently start checking out, because if he's not respected, that's his number one need. There is no reason to stay. So the stakes are really quite high with this one. And I really hope that the women listening to this understand that and really take it on board, because, I know when I didn't understand this, I was being really disrespectful to you, and it was eroding your self-esteem and sense of, being a man. You didn't even feel like you could be a man around me. And I hear from men all the time, when we teach this to the women inside Save My Marriage School, the men reflect back, I feel like I can be a man again. I actually feel like a man because she's respecting me. Mm-hmm. So it's huge.
It's massive.
Absolutely huge.
Yep.
The second one is appreciation. And I don't just mean saying thank you. A lot of women will go, so many women have been raised by critical mothers or fathers, and so they're not very good or at praise and appreciation, or it doesn't come naturally. That doesn't mean that it's bad or wrong. It just means it's not familiar for you. And that's not necessarily a good thing. But what I mean by appreciation is acknowledging them. Like, I'm not just saying thank you to Adam all day. Like, if he does, like, some mornings, for example, I'll sleep in and he will get up and do breakfast and everything. I'm not getting up every morning and saying, thanks so much for doing breakfast so I could sleep in. I'm just getting up in the morning and I'm looking grateful. My energy is like, I am so lucky. I'm so lucky to be married to this man. I feel so cared for and taken care of. So my energy is relaxed and grateful and appreciative, and Adam feels that and he appreciates that. So it's not just me saying thank you. I say thank you a lot, and I think it's great to do that and create a culture of appreciation in your home, especially if you have children as well. It's a good thing to model, but it's also how your energy is with them. It's how you look at them. I look at Adam like I appreciate and admire him. He shares thoughts with me that are different to mine, and I appreciate them. I like hearing his different way of thinking. I make sure I show affection, which shows men that they're appreciated. So in terms of just like touching him on the leg or holding his hand or, rubbing his chest or his back and just acknowledging him. it makes a man feel valued and like
does.
they matter.
Yep.
And especially if you are now parents, this is something that often drops off when you become parents. And this is where men start to say, well, like, I don't even know if I'm needed other than for the bank account. So I think that's another really big one that's really important.
And number 3, receptivity.
Receptivity.
What's that
So
one?
this is about being open to your partner. It's about being able to receive. So this is in so many different ways. Can you receive compliments from your husband or your boyfriend? Do you deflect them and dismiss them, or do you receive them? They're trying to see you, and it's attractive to them if you receive it. If you push it away and say something like, oh, this old thing, they're going to be like, okay, well, I was trying to create some chemistry and attraction there and you just kind of pushed it away. Can you receive their support when they offer to help you? Do you let them do it their way, or do you say, oh no, it's just easier if I do it? Or do you redo things if they've helped you? That's the opposite of receptive. That's closed. Are you closing to their ideas? Like if they're planning dates or holidays for the family, are you receptive to their initiation and them taking initiative to plan things? Or do you go straight into like wanting to control it and say things like, well, I didn't want to go there, or I packed the wrong things, or just all of that sends a message that you're not receptive to them. It's whether you're allowing your partner to influence you and support you or help you. Can you actually receive it? And a lot of women struggle with receiving. So if you're not very receptive, the work you need to do is, what is my relationship to receiving? Do I believe it makes me weak or not good enough or anything like that? If you have a negative story about a negative association, it's going to be very hard for you to receive. Men often will not initiate intimacy or connection with a woman who is closed. So if your body language is all armored up, if you are all armored up in interactions, if there's no vulnerability, if there's no openness, he's likely not going to initiate any connection or intimacy because he doesn't want to feel rejected. So the receptivity is huge. If you want more spark, if you want to feel desired and all of those things, you need to check in with, am I actually even receptive to that? Am I even open for it? Because if you're not, it's not going to make sense for him to desire you or initiate any form of intimacy or connection.
That's a very big problem. We hear that a lot, don't we?
Yeah.
The receptivity piece is huge.
It is.
Number 4 is softening. So
Yes.
what do women need to know about that?
So softening is probably also one that women struggle with. It's really surrendering and allowing yourself to relax. It's the opposite of doing.
Yeah.
It's
Which is really
being.
the definition of feminine, isn't it? Really.
It is.
It's being, not doing.
It's being in the energy. It's feeling your feelings. It's taking the armor down. It's sharing your softness with him. So letting him see like soft energy, relaxed energy, calm energy. Not, a lot of women today are very tense and tight and controlling and busy and doing, and that's not attractive to a man. Like, I like to get things done and you like that about me, but not when I'm in that energy 24/7, because then I become a bit of a taskmaster and you're actually repulsed by that if I'm in that 24/7. Because it's not attractive. It's the same energy as you. It's not the opposite. So there's a vulnerability that women can create and that women can invite men back into their hearts through their softness. A woman's softness really is the key to bringing out the vulnerability in men. If you want him to be more vulnerable with you, to share more, to be more open, to connect to his heart, it's your softness which is the gateway to that, because that's inviting to a man. That's curious. It's the opposite of his energy and it's mysterious and he wants to understand that. So if you want any of that from your partner, you want to start asking yourself, what is my relationship to softness? Like even checking in with your body. A lot of women's bodies are not even soft anymore. They're really tense and hard, and it doesn't mean, you can have muscle, you can work out. It doesn't mean you can't do those things. But there's an energy around a feminine woman where softness is actually considered a strength, and it's very attractive. It's great for bringing back the spark in your relationship. If you have some softness, men love that. And yeah, even like the softness in your face and your eyes, and it really is an energetic thing, feeling softer in yourself. And yeah, it definitely creates this more intimate connection. I know whenever I deepen my softening, we go to a deeper place of connection, and it's always really beautiful and surprisingly really powerful.
Yeah,
I actually think women are very powerful when they soften.
definitely. 100%. Beautiful. Well, hopefully you guys found that helpful. That was a great episode.
Yeah.
We'd love to hear from you guys and just get your thoughts on how you found it. If you found it interesting or helpful, you can reach out to us. We'd love just a DM on Instagram.
Yeah.
You can reach out to Aston. It's Aston_Simmons, or mine is Adam__Simmons. And
Yeah, it's a good idea to just think about these concepts that we brought up today and just reflect on, like, you know, what would shift in our relationship if for the woman I started to respect him more and I softened more, or for the men, what would be possible in our relationship if I could, you know, show her a bit more affection or reassurance.
yeah,
Start to explore what would become possible if you started to embody those qualities more.
absolutely.
And I would recommend listening to this and then giving yourself a challenge for the next 7 days.
Yep.
Focus on these qualities and how you can embody them, and start to show up with that new quality, new energy in your relationship, and just take the feedback. What happens? What do you notice in how you feel, how your partner feels? You might notice that there's more of a spark, there's more of attraction, that you want to be intimate there. So just bring awareness to it. And like I said, try it for 7 days, take the feedback, but it is something that you're going to need to consistently try for about 30 days.
Yeah.
We touch on this a little bit at our 1-day retreat, Recreate Your Relationship retreat. We've got our last one coming up in Australia for this year, but we will be doing more retreats next year. So if you're interested in, you know, how can we start exploring these different energies practically, our 1-day Recreate Your Relationship retreat is a great place to start. So we'll link that in the comments below. But we also teach this in depth inside Save My Marriage School. So if you want to know more about Save My Marriage School, we'll also put a link below where you can book in and you can have a one-on-one session with us to, you know, hear a bit more about where you are in your relationship, and see how we can support you to bring that spark back so that you can, you know, really embody these energies and create more attraction, intimacy, all the connection and the good stuff that you want.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, we'd love to help you do that. So
of course,
we will, you can find all that in the notes below, in the show notes, and we will see you in the next episode.